I'd like to welcome you to AscendSocial training videos, and we're going to focus on the general settings section of AscendSocial. We're going to be working in the WordPress auto post settings, configuring AscendSocial to your WordPress site. This is how AscendSocial speaks to your WordPress site. As you can see, as always, we always start with the home page of AscendSocial. We would generally go over to settings and click here. But because we're working with the auto post settings, I have to go over to the WordPress site first so you can understand exactly how this actually really works. But initially, you would actually make your changes here in the general settings first. But because we're doing a training video here, I feel it's necessary for us to start with the WordPress site itself. So this is my my dummy site that I use for training or just developing stuff and trying it out. Anyway, we're gonna go to an actual post. I'm gonna click here, and from here you're going to be able to see how this auto post setting actually really works. For one thing, before I talk a little bit about what we see here in this diagram, is that to enable AscendSocial to be able to communicate with the dashboard, is that you would click on this button here. If you notice that there's a pull down menu, that's what you're really going to be configuring inside of AscendSocial. So when you execute certain things or enable certain social sites, all right, that it will trigger the dashboard and look for what were your default settings for that, which would actually be how long of the article did you want to post. We have a option back there that you can determine the snippet length of your post. Like for example, for Twitter, you know, Twitter has 140 characters plus you have your link. So what you probably want to do is you probably want to set the snippet inside of AscendSocial to maybe 100 characters, just to make sure that you got that link covered when you're posting. So this is how AscendSocial is going to communicate with your WordPress site. So we're here at your WordPress site, and once you put the plugin in to communicate, for your site to communicate with AscendSocial, you have to click on this enable button. Otherwise, they're not talking to each other. But however, what we get ready to go to in a few minutes is inside the AscendSocial dashboard. This is where you're going to create and make those default settings. Then of course, after all of this is done, you will be able to post out to your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Delicious. And as it says here, it says immediately. How we have things set up at the moment is either on and it's off. On mean from your dashboard would mean that immediate, all right? And these posts will not trigger until this particular document is published. So let me say that one more time. When these are engaged, and you engage them by just clicking on them, all right? When these are engaged, when the post is posted, this will go out. So let me give you another quick example too. So I want to make sure you really understand this. That I can have a post that went out already. It went out yesterday. But if I decide I want to post that same post again out to social media, and remember my social media would be setup would be based on what I have inside of AscendSocial. All right, so if I was to click this, anytime I hit that publish button, it's automatically going to shoot it out. That's what immediate means. It's going to shoot it out to your social media. So let's get back into the AscendSocial dashboard, and let's start looking at how we'll go about setting up this auto post setting. So we would, like always, start from the general settings. Click here, move over to tab 3, which is the WordPress auto post setting. When I click here, now it's just like when you was working with, if you was with us with the social app settings. Over here you select the social media sites that you want to configure. You start off with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Each of them going to be just maybe a little bit different, but nothing really major. So the first thing that you want to do, right now we're in Facebook. Now I'm not going to go into this particular I'm not going to go into this particular interface right now, but to let you know that from Facebook, you have the option to be able to click on multiple pages at one time, which is a good thing, because if I wanted to send something to maybe 3 of my pages plus a group plus a page, I can set that up with the auto post settings. So every time I go back to here and Facebook is engaged, based on what I have set up here, it's going to go out to those various pages. I'm going a little backwards, but down here, this particular section is going to be removed. So when you log in, if you don't see this here, don't be alarmed, because it's on the board to be removed. All right, so let's go up to the top now. Since we done kind of did this backwards, we talked about the bottom first. Let's focus on the top, because the top actually controls what happens down here. All right, so when we look right here, this is telling us what WordPress site of ours do we want to configure. For this demonstration, I only have one WordPress site set up in this configuration. So it's actually within the Facebook section. It's also asking me how long do I want my snippet length. So I'm going to say 200. And now next thing I'm going to go to Twitter. Now we also have the option of uploading your logo, which you can see I've done here, and that's as simple as clicking the button and uploading. Nothing special about that. Now that we're on the Twitter section, when I click post, now if I click on none, you're not going to see it, so you have to click on post to see this. So on Twitter, I'm going to say, I know Twitter's 140 characters, so I'm going to just say 100 would be fine. LinkedIn, maybe I want to go back to my 200 characters. And you see, once you set this stuff up, it kind of when you go to the next one, it's easy to configure the next one that you have to do. So now we're in Pinterest. Now the one thing that's different about Pinterest, you're gonna have to choose what board you want to go to. But first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click that I want Pinterest. Pinterest is more of an image type of thing. All right. So I'm gonna say 100 there too, and then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna be able to choose what board I want to publish to. I'm gonna leave that one as it is. Then I come over here to Twitter, and I'm telling the same thing I have to do here. Give a length. I'm also going to give 200, and delicious is the same thing. I'm gonna say 300. So these are just default settings that what happens when the when your post goes out from your WordPress site and it's distributed across social media. You don't want the whole post. The post could be 1,000 characters. You really want that to go out onto your social media sites. So the smart thing would be able to set up a snippet length, because the whole purpose of this, remember, is to drive traffic back to your website. So that's why this feature was created. I'm not sure if anybody else is doing this, but if they're not, they should be. So we're going to just step back real fast and go through each one. So it'll like delicious is set up okay. I have, let me cancel this. I have Tumblr 200 characters. I like that. Pinterest 100 characters. But also what I could do here too with Pinterest, if I want to, I could upload a image, and this is the one I'm using for Pinterest for this demonstration, as you can see there. And so now I want to go to LinkedIn, Twitter, and now we're back to Facebook. So that's how we configure the auto post settings. So let's click back over here real fast, and let's take another quick look at this before I close this out, and because we're nearing the end of this video now, training video. So due to the fact that I have this enabled, anything that I click here, based on what I have setting back here, when this particular article posts, it's going to be post based on the settings that I made inside AscendSocial. So I kind of like call this the lazy man feature, because think about it. If I want to, you can find out in the later videos the various things you can do with AscendSocial. But at a minimum, think about this. At a minimum, due to the fact that I have those safeguards in place, that's only going to take a certain snippet length that I can control. I can just create a blog post and I could blast that out to social media, not worrying about like the traditional plugins. Whereas when you post out, it's everything. You can't. There's no control there about how much information that you can send out. But with AscendSocial, due to the fact that we have the snippet length there, that protects you from that ever happening to you. So if you don't have the time, and AscendSocial is all about time, you don't have the time, then this feature is it's a great feature to use within AscendSocial. So I tell you what, I'll see you in the next video.